Hello and welcome. This is Kevin, also known as AWOL. And today we are working with, put the pattern close to me. It is pattern number 92105 on friendshipbracelets.net. Also, the kumi, in case you're interested, which is really cute, is number 4689. All right. This one kind of had me a little bit confused when we started out because there are some areas where there's the possibility of having like a long chevron, and longer rows tend to help make things go faster. Plus, it can help to add to the overall structure. If everything's zigzag, it's very easy for a bracelet to get kind of sloppy. But when you have a nice long straight rows in there, you can utilize that to help bring the form back. So I think in the beginning part of this, at least, I might change up the method of how I went about actually tying the knots and like which direction things were kind of going. As I got further, I think I settled into more of a rhythm. It just sort of made it kind of work. The green is the variegated floss, meaning it changes colors. You'll notice there are times where I could have just let it go straight, but I made it change the corner. And that's because if I let it go straight, there would have been a sudden sharp contrast to the lighter strings that were underneath, right? So having those strings long enough to be able to kind of play with it in a way to make sure that I kind of kept at least the diamonds and the crossovers wherever I could, to try to make it a little less obvious the strings directions, and make it a little bit more interesting, or a little less, I don't know what the word is. I was trying to avoid having like just these sharp contrasts in the variegated itself. I don't know how to describe that better than that, but yeah, there are points, because there's a place where there's two chevrons sort of come together, one that's downward facing and one upwards facing. It's starting to form right now, like in the video, and I couldn't really change how that was going to turn out. So in some of those places, there are bits where it's really obvious, like which one went over or which one went under, because you can see the distinct contrast. And that kind of happens with variegated. You can't avoid that, unless, of course, you were hand dyeing your string yourself and you got it the symmetry just right, and you worked out. Yeah, I do know that there are artists out there who do exactly that, which kudos to them. That is amazing stuff. But that's a lot more work. It's a lot more stuff that I just don't have the space to do all of that. And yeah, I mean, I kind of think you need like a garage or somewhere where, because you're gonna get dye kind of around, and it's gonna permanently stain things. And I live in essentially what's like in an apartment, so I can't imagine like how to do it. I don't think I would do it outside either. I don't know. Kind of public space sort of thing. You don't want to have a bunch of dye on the ground and making a mess. So yeah, I don't know. That would be something. So the pattern repeats itself like 5 times, which is pretty cool. So like once you kind of get the hang of it, it just kind of goes. So that's kind of nice. It's not, I have to admit, it's not my sort of pattern. It's not my sort of thing that I kind of like. I tend to favor more arrowhead type designs, or I don't know. I don't know why I favor some patterns over others. But this one's not bad. It took just over an hour to make it, which is about par for the course. Nothing too crazy, nothing special. Yeah. Some of it was actually made on a live stream. It got split into two parts. One was rather late at night, and then the following day, I ended up finishing it up on a live stream, which was pretty cool. If you're interested in those kind of things, you could become a member like these people. Um, so with YouTube members, you get to see behind the scenes, see me making stuff in real time. You get, let's see, what else is there? There's, oh, early access to all the videos. I'm a ways ahead from the actual date that you get to see this publicly. So you can go watch all the videos early. You could have a little smiley face next to your name in the chat. It sort of makes you stand out a little bit more. So that's kind of cool. Get to have hangouts with me through Discord, where we can hang out, talk about stuff, share ideas. Kind of cool stuff in general. It's $4 a month. I don't think that's too terribly much to be able to see all the videos early and have the hangouts and all that stuff. So if you could, it would be awesome, and it helps support the channel, help me keep having enough string to keep doing this stuff. Mind you, at this point, like, I had an order of string might be about a month now, that has probably got me enough to probably finish, well, for sure finish out the rest of this year. Probably take me a pretty good part into next year, as long as I don't like want a specific color, you know what I mean, or like want to build a bag or something, because that's the bigger projects. Yeah, I kind of have to order that stuff especially just for the project itself, so that's kind of a thing. But it doesn't mean that I still don't need the help and support. There's a lot of things that go into making this whole channel happen, and I have a website to keep going, so that way you guys can have the patterns, you can have the templates and all that. That's an expense. Yeah, there's just a lot going on to keep this whole thing going. So again, kudos to all those that do help. Yeah, I think, like, at this point of the bracelet, I kind of come to my way of, like, trying to do it. I do the top part of the little arrow, then I can bring in the longer rows. I think this is, like, I kind of settled into a better rhythm for it. So it is a pretty bracelet, though. It really is kind of cool. And it probably wouldn't be my first choice for doing a variegated pattern with, but having done it and seeing it turn out pretty cool, I definitely do like that. I don't know. Well, I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this. Is this something that you would want to try? Is this something you are going to try? Let me know in the comments. I definitely get curious as to whether or not some of these patterns that I try to, do myself, if it's something that you guys are going to be making for yourselves. I don't know how much of the video there is left. I feel like I kind of told you all the stuff, like how long it took. Oh, the strings I cut to 1/3 of the length of the skein of floss, which is kind of standard for me, which kind of assures that no matter which way I change the direction of the strings, I don't have to worry about running out. I know that it's a little bit wasteful than having calculated out exactly what is needed, but because of changing directions here and there and not knowing which way I'm going to go with it, it allows me to be sure that I'm not going to run out, and I can have the tassels at the end like I want and things like that. So I'm not saying you have to. I'm just suggesting that it might help you avoid wasting of the string altogether because you run out of one before you get to the end. Because that's the worst. You put in all your effort, you're making something, and then you like run out of string. Yeah, that does not ever feel good. Happened to me a lot back in the early days. Learned my lesson, and at some point or another, I decided that certain patterns just made it necessary. I used to cut my string in quarters, right? So you get 4 strands for every single skein, and I deliberately worked out patterns in ways that utilize the string more evenly, so that way I wouldn't run out. But that left me with a lot of patterns I couldn't do. And at some point or another, I decided it's just, I want to do them all. I want to be able to make anything I want without the worry of it. And so whatever is left, because like if I use a skein, I get 3 pieces, I might only need 2 of those in the bracelet I'm working on. So I have a box where I save all of the leftover pieces, and they go into other projects as well. So nothing really gets wasted. At some point, if I get a huge accumulation of them, I will just make a super crazy colorful bag. And yeah, the last time I did something like that, it was I know for a fact it had more than 144 colors, because a lot of it was left over from a previous project that had 144, and 400 strings into it. So it was a really big bucket bag that turned out pretty awesome. So, you know, if you're on the fence about whether or not how to cut your strings and how to make use of it, it's like there's an option for you. A little bit of insight to come along with a relatively easy bracelet pattern, just because I'm on a roll. I'm just kind of rambling because I had leftover time, I guess. I don't think there's much more of this bracelet left. Oh no, it's not. It is near the end, I think. So the big reveal will be here. Thanks for hanging out with me, by the way. I really do appreciate people who sit through the whole video. It helps the channel, makes Google think that it's, you know, worth watching. So yeah, here comes the final rose. All right, guys. Yeah, thanks. And as always, don't get your strings in a bunch.